3.
Division 3. Okay, perfect. And all right, so we have the whole team here, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
they showed.
and we have a composition of Johanna, Rexar, Falstad, Alarak, and Anduin. Right, that's his name. Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out draft wise, let me ask you guys first. I guess to the captain, what was the thought process behind this draft? Like, what did you want to be able to accomplish with it? Do you remember the order of it?
I can look that up. Silver will probably do better at talking about the drafting
Sure,
and what we're thinking at the time.
sure.
Go ahead, Silver. I'm going to look up some data for us.
Sure. We picked Alarak because we first picked Alarak
Mm-hmm.
because we thought it was a little bit broken for us,
Yeah.
which it turned out in this game wasn't as broken as we had hoped.
Okay.
We picked Kingo picked up the Rexar just because it's a nice, easy comfort pick for him for a little bit of extra CC in fights,
Sure.
and he dominates with the solo lane with that.
Mm-hmm.
Joe is just all around general good tank.
Yep.
Falstead was supposed to be the answer to the mosh pit,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just another comfort pick for us.
Got it. Okay. So all of what you said is true, and I do think Alarak is a very viable first pick in the current meta. He's very strong. I wouldn't say that this is his strongest map just because of how open a lot of the team fights are. A lot of the like places there's not tons of choke points, and that's really where he starts to shine. Is when you know where the enemy team is going, and you can and just destroy them. Um, I think the biggest flaw that I see just right off the bat is that there's not a single one hero on this team that is like a really decent shrine hero for the objective. So if they play purely wave clear, like try to avoid fighting you guys and just play the shrine, they should win it almost every time. So in other words, you guys have to get kills in order to win the objective, which is putting your team at a bit of a disadvantage, I would say, for this map. So that's the first thing I would notice just purely based on the draft. And a lot of that, I think, yeah, it does come down to comforts. I think in future, for Infernal Shrines in particular, I would say you need to make sure you have at least one pick that is a really solid shrine clear. But the reason for that being that it's the hero that you leave to do the shrine when everybody else wants to go off and do something else. Because if you get a kill in a competitive match like this, it's oftentimes better not to do the whole thing with all five. It's better to go get something else that you can get, like an invade on a camp or push the structures or something, while leaving one person to finish the shrine. In most of the HGC matches you'll see from the past, you'll see like a Sonya or a Urel or any number of other solo things that can clear fast. In this case, it can be pretty much any role. Even like Johanna's okay for this role, but she's very mana dependent for that. A lot of teams in the healer role will do something like Alexstrasza, which does cover the shrine a bit. As far as DPS go, like I would be very okay with having the Alarak if it was paired with something with heavier wave clear in this case. So like some sort of a mage you could have done. I don't know, Gul'dan could have worked here. That could have also been a counter to the mosh pit, although it would have been the primary target. But Alarak also has stop for mosh pit as well. I think you had enough stops for mosh pit that you could have gotten away with a pick here that wasn't super anti mosh pit.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think that in this particular draft, so they do have the Zool, and so the Anduin with the grips is going to be quite nice to deal with that, although it is a much shorter cooldown that they have. But you have Johanna with the Unstoppable, so pretty much every route that goes on to Johanna, she can take care of herself. So mostly it's just going to be taking care of either of the backlines that or the squishier targets that get rooted. Otherwise, okay, yeah, I think that mostly covers the draft weaknesses.
Real quick on the bans,
Mm-hmm.
in case it comes up
Sure.
for whatever reason you need it. So first round, KT, Malthael, Sylvanas, and Anna were all banned in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Second round, it was Blaze and Arthas.
Okay.
Okay, so that's
All
all.
right. Fair enough. So yeah, I think that strengths-wise, okay, so the biggest strengths that your composition has over the enemy team is the macro aspect. I think the Rexar is like a super dominant solo laner for sure, and against their team, he should destroy the solo lane because they don't even have a traditional solo laner. And then you have a Falstad, so you have a global, which can exert some global pressure and always be the one that's sort of off in a different lane. They can answer that by going ETC stage dive, but I'm assuming that they don't this game based on the mosh pit mention. It's probably what I would have done, but what that means is that the playstyle you have to have as Johanna in this game is very sitting in bushes, unmounting as they mount, but not fighting. That's sort of the name of the game here, is that you don't want to be forcing on this team until you know where they're weakest, essentially. So if they have somebody that's overextending in a lane, let's say Zul is their solo laner or something, if he gets down to 50%, you could do a false dead fly up and try and gank him. Or if you have, both Johanna, if Johanna's chilling in these types of bushes all in between these two mid and bot lanes, then Alarak can basically follow up on if something is rotating out of position. So for example, if instead of ETC coming through, it's a Jaina or a Stukov, then Alarak can go ahead and dump his combo into that squishy target to follow up with the Johanna. And it's unlikely you'll actually get the kill if ETC is close enough to peel, but you'll definitely chunk and you'll prevent them from rotating to clear the waves, which is really the goal here. Because in this composition, you guys have worse wave clear, so you have to interrupt their rotations. That's very important for this match. As far as early, mid, late game, I would say I think that the early game, straight team fighting, their team wins. So you should only be taking skirmishes and global team fight advantage, numbers advantaged fights. I think once you guys get your ultimates, it becomes slightly more even, but I'd still say they have a stronger 5v5 team fight. And then late game, I think you guys might be able to have a big advantage when it comes to just the amount of map pressure you can exert to force them to split up, and that'll be really powerful for winning late game fights. And if you go the upgraded Gust, that would be very powerful against this team because they're very squishy. So pushing them up against a wall is like a 4-second stun. It's like a mosh pit. So you could just kill all of their squishies in that. All right, let's get into this.
Sounds good. And I already disappoint you with my false stead play because I did not do what you said I should be doing. So just a heads up.
Did you not go Gust?
No, I went Gus,
Okay,
but I
okay.
didn't like sit in the lane and then anyway.
Absolutely. No, I wanted to point out purely based on the draft, like what I see
Options.
as the play style in order to have your win condition. Because the worst thing that I could possibly imagine this game is you guys just kind of going up against them 4 versus 4 in lane and trying to match their wave clear and just doing your camps like that. That's you're gonna slowly lose if you do that because they'll be ahead on rotations because they'll have faster wave clear, and they're gonna be ahead on camp clear then, and then the objective is going to come up and they're going to have faster shrine clear, and it's just going to start to snowball. I think it's very unlikely to me that you guys win the first objective purely based on composition, but if you do, it's because you got priority kills like before it spawned or as it was spawning. That's the only way that I see that you guys win the early team fights. And the later team fights, I think Gust is going to have to be very impactful for separating multiple people. Honestly, if it were me, I would say don't even show up to the first objective as Falstad. I'd say push the opposite lane. If this is the one that spawns first, then you push top with Rexar. They have to respond to it. If they respond to it with more than one person, then you can fly in and try and take a 4 versus 3. That's sort of the idea.
I like that.
All right. Let's get into this. I keep having to lower the volume. All right. And really quick, what do you end up going for your level 1 talent, Falstad?
I went a very weird spec, so nothing meta, and it was completely to my play style, and it didn't work out so well this game.
Alrighty, I'll get into the builds and whatnot a little bit later once we see sort of the direction we're going.
All right.
Definitely, talent builds have a big impact on the playstyle that you have. So
okay,
we'll get into that. So they're having already Zul to fast clear bottom. I think that this is, based on what I was saying earlier, you guys don't want to clash too much. So I think you guys should be trying to match what they're doing right now. It's good to have Rexar be already heading up to this top lane. And I would have one person in this bottom lane as well, probably Falstad, just chilling by the gate. You don't want to miss any soak. And then you can have Johanna and Alarak in the middle, as well as Anduin. And you can slow their rotations. That's the goal for these two heroes, is slow their rotations.
Okay, I think our plan initially too was we're doing a 4-man soak, I think is what we were doing.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's a lot of times what you want to be doing, and if you're this team, that's what you want to be doing. But against, when you have this composition without the wave clear, like you have Johanna, so that's some wave clear. But they can wave clear a lot faster than your team can, which is why I think it's important to do the interruptions. They're also going to have, the Zul fast wave clear down here. You guys had 5 people. Okay, so you're up here to catch the soak in time. Okay, so we already had to use pull. And meanwhile, the entire wave down here is starting to crash, but it looks like you're only going to miss one minion of soak. 2 minions, I think. All right, that's not too bad. But it's so because of the fact that they had that wave clear superiority, they are able to rotate up here as 4. Great positioning and awareness on your part here, Kingle, because this could have easily been a pick. So the moment you guys see that, I think, you guys can clear this, but I think rotating as 4 is a big mistake. You need to leave one person in this lane to fast clear this, and then somebody can clear this mid, but more important, don't let him rotate back down, because they had 4 people up here, right? And if they have 4 people and you have vision of 2 over here and 2 over here, you have vision of the whole team. This is the only hero that can soak these 2 lanes, so don't let him rotate back down. I guarantee you, if you leave like Falstad down here to fast clear this wave, and you put Johanna or Alarak to interrupt him rotating, they're going to miss the entire wave down here, and maybe you guys get a pick on Zul. That's what happens. Alright, does not work out as well as hopeful. And they're going to get a counter kill most likely. And we're going to miss this whole wave down here. Camps are also available at this point, but so far the 4-man rotations are just really killing you guys because they're working against your favor. They have a Zul who can basically do a 4-man rotate solo. As long as he doesn't die, he's doing the same thing that a 4-man rotate does. So I think definitely need to keep you can't do the 4-man split here. You have to have one person separated. I would just say keep the Falstad in the extreme lane, the far lane.
Okay, that makes sense.
Anduin can sort of go between the 2 lanes based on where healing is necessary or where there's threat. But I seriously doubt you guys are going to get early game picks. It's only going to be like interrupt the rotation, slow them down, and hopefully grab your camps. I don't think that you guys go for an aggressive camp or an invade, but you can do Falstad fly to the top if their solo laner is getting low. So then you can call for that. But they're spending a lot of time trying to gank top. So this is the second time they've had 4 people top to gank. So they're just doing this Zul double lane rotation at this point. The camps are available, so immediately go for their camp and leave only one person to soak this. I think, you guys can afford to do this with 3. 1, 2, 3. The worst thing you can do, though, is nothing. So in this case, you guys go for your camp, which is okay. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. It does give them enough time to rotate back so that it's harder to invade theirs. Okay. Still got to clear, so got to have one person bottom. So we don't want to fight this because this is going to be another missed wave. Yep, okay. This gives them time to do theirs. You guys could have gone for this. One person soaks this. The rest go down here. Yeah, I don't think that it was necessary to come up here for this wave because it's not going to crash just yet. Do you guys go for it? No. Okay, that's fine. So I think that, yeah, going for this camp here instead of going for the aggressive invade was a misplay. They got more out of it than you guys did, essentially, because they were able to recover from overcommitting to the top side of the map.
Now, when you mentioned before about Joe's strategy about like just being in bushes early game and just kind of disrupting, where ideally should he be just disrupting? Just those three.
Basically, maximum blind radius away from their team. That's essentially where you want to be. In whichever bush is closest to where they're trying to mount up and rotate. So that can be, oops, I don't want to be locked. Okay, that can be, if they're here right now, that means you're in this bush. Right, so as soon as they start rotating through here, you can dismount them and walk away, or clear the wave and walk away. And then after you've cleared this wave, you can rotate up to this bush and do the same sort of thing. You just want to keep on dismounting them. Don't let them free rotate.
Okay.
Okay, so there are 4 people down here. So right now they're missing out on this mid. You can absolutely be a little bit more aggressive up here. You could also go for a fly top right now. It's too far to fly, so it's not possible just right now. But he's playing very aggressively, so this means you should be probably calling like, oh, if you want to fly top, that's possible. I don't know if you still have a tap. Okay, so they're going for this camp. I don't think that this is something you guys want to be contesting. I think you guys have to give this, but you have to get something else in return. If you try and contest this, it's highly unlikely that you win it based on the composition. Versus instead, if you push mid this whole time, right? And I think Alarak could have been pushing mid already. He could have cleared these out for sure and started getting some damage on a tower. If you guys essentially know that they're doing this and you can push mid with this camp and whatnot, I think you guys get the whole wall in exchange for this camp. And that's a worthwhile trade, I'd say. And sometimes teams will back off the camp just to rotate and try and deal with you. And either one of those options is perfectly fine. The unfortunate thing is that, this camp, if it is taken, it's in the opposite lane of this, but you do have a global foul stat, so you can stay down here to clear this. And I would recommend giving this first objective, but we'll see how this goes. I'm assuming you guys are considering trying to fight this. Okay, a good opener onto Stukov. Not quite enough to finish. That's okay. That's a really good good outcome though for you guys as far as how that could have gone. So I will take that.
Risky Division 3 plays, man.
That's fine. I mean, like, Stukov was out of position, and you guys caught him with a Stukov silence and whatnot. But he didn't die. Like, that's sort of the problem with the composition that I see it in the 4-man team fights. Like, even if you catch a squishy, there's a good chance that they might not die, because ETC has strong peels, and then Stukov can, if he gets a big heal off, I'm not sure if there's enough. Like, if you had maybe an Arthas instead of a Johanna, then maybe you can just track those kills down eventually. But otherwise, if you had Rexar with you, then you have enough crowd control to like keep them locked down in position and kill them. That's
got it.
Yeah.
So just not enough follow up in a sense to secure a kill.
In this 4-man against this team, there's not, because they have the ETC. Like, he can knock back to interrupt auto attacks and skill shots and buy space, and then Stukov's heal is like a big chunk, and it's just I don't think the burst from Hammering and Alarak combo and whatnot is enough. And Johanna is very low damage, or at least relatively low damage, and Anduin is like negative damage. So yeah, it's just not quite enough damage to kill the squishies unless you also have the Rexar.
Okay.
But in this case, even not killing the Stukov is fine because you still got the camp. So it's a better turnout than I would have hoped for. Because you guys grabbed that camp, so Zul is already down here. It's good quick rotate and start this immediately, they're going to have to be late. So they're going to be 4 people on the shrine potentially. So essentially positioning should be your whole team should be up here. Only Johanna should be in this bush. The rest should be just fast clearing. And if anything tries to come up through here or here, then you just, dump some cooldowns into them with follow-up from Alarak and Johanna. Just chunk them and force them to back off, tap, and then by the time that Zul gets here, you guys should be at least 20 minions up. If you had a better shrine clear, I'd say almost 30. It is available. They are starting it, which they shouldn't be, but you guys are just still rotating. Okay. All right, that's fine. This is pretty good for you guys. They're overextended, but you guys need to get to these squishy backliners as soon as possible. It looks like you're going for the Jaina as the kill target. I would say the Rainer is probably the easier target to kill, but it is slightly further away. But he's further out of position. Let me see. Get the slow off. Yeah. I think going for the Rainer would have been a better choice, just because of the proximity of how far it was to get away. I think Rainer would have been a 100% guaranteed kill target. Jaina looks like she's going to slip by. And now you guys have split focus and don't have enough to kill either one. So I think, yeah, definitely should have gone for the Rainer, because he's got much further to travel to get to safety than the Jaina. Also, I didn't see Misha's stun go out. I'm assuming it was due to the Stukov silence. But in any case, so this is very unsuccessful for you guys because it buys time for Zul. It looks like he's going to continue to double lane soak, which is a really good idea for him to do. And if he does that, I think Falstad has to leave. You can't be losing 2 lanes of soak, especially because you have a composition that's not very quick at doing the shrine. Alright, so Rexar is the one who leaves to go deal with Zul. So this is now a 4 versus 4.
Hindsight's 20/20, of course, but it would have been better for me to go double soak or match the soak and then just have Rexar stay in the team fight in that one.
I think so, yeah, because you're the global. If they overextend, you can always fly back. That's the idea. And in this position right now, if they start pressing up and get to here, you can fly here or here and then turn the tables with a 5v4. And even though they're going to get ahead in soak here, if you guys can turn this into 3-4 kills and an objective, that's worth it.
Okay.
That's the idea. Having Rexar here, I don't think he can double lane clear nearly as well as Zul can. Maybe he can disrupt it. I think Falstad would be generally better because Falstad's more threatening to the Zul in particular. Not necessarily better at wave clear, especially not until level 7. So yeah, but that's the thing, is that you guys have less wave clear, so you have to interrupt rotations and you have to get the picks. So Zul is definitely getting advantage on the wave clear side, but Rexar's rotating back, and now we got to look for that. Okay, so this slide is extremely aggressive. I think everyone needs to focus him right now. I think as soon as this stun is over on Misha, you should be able to basically stun backwards to keep him in range of towers. And if everybody focuses ETC right now, he should die. Instead, you go for the stun on the back line. Yeah, this is just a very clear situation where ETC overextended with his power slide, and everybody needs to be calling the same target. Okay. ETC still does go down, but there's also focus onto the Jaina, who is not going to go down. And I don't think that was necessary to go for the Jaina there. So I think ETC should have died much faster, and then you guys could have looked for more. But being split focus was not ideal, but turned out just fine.
Okay.
And then one person splits off to go back to soak. Very good. I think one person also needs to be catching this soak, probably Falstad. Like this Jaina is super overextended right now. You guys just killed ETC. If Falstad's sitting in this bush about to soak this Jaina dies for going to get that globe. Straight up. All right. So you guys are going to grab this for sure. Guaranteed. And as I mentioned, the reason why you guys win this first objective is because you get that pick. It's a, you only need one. That's honestly all you need to win a shrine. Because it's just too threatening for them to step up again. That's fine. But they are definitely, they're doing a better job with the double lane soak, but the experience bar isn't actually that different, so that's fantastic for you guys. As far as structures, yeah, you've only lost two towers. Okay. This is
Kingle did great soak in this game.
So far, so good. I mean, I want to take a quick peek at the numbers just to see how. So it is not quite the same, obviously, but you guys have made up the difference elsewhere. Unfortunately, in replays, it won't allow me to see like the exact breakdown, but it says 1 kill to 1 kill, so it's not the kills, which means that elsewhere you guys have picked up that extra bit of soak in the 4-man that they've missed apparently. Alright, so this first objective, you're not going to get much more than just these front towers. Small misplay is just focusing on both at the same time. Kill one at a time first, especially when you're tanking them. You guys should have this one down immediately, and then you can focus this one down next. Yeah, so... Okay, you do get both of them, but it's a little bit slower than it could be. That's fine. Okay, immediate rotation needs to be happening to get to your camp right here. Rexar can start rotating back to be up in the top lane. You guys have the first rotation by a little bit. If you guys... I don't think it's necessary to tap here. Just fast rotate, get to your camp, and then if they're slow on their rotation, then you can potentially look for another invade. I don't think you need to, but it's just a matter of having some advantage, and that's having your camp already capped. Bottom soak is being missed. I don't like the aggressive camp ping here. They do have 1 top still, and you guys have 5, so if you can get the priority pick here, that's not terrible. Yeah, that's a triple. Okay. Oh, baby, a triple. All right. So it's a little bit sloppy as far as like you guys had the dream scenario and then didn't try, like you didn't trust yourselves to go through with it, I guess. They should not have walked away from that. There should have been at the minimum 1 person dying. But you guys do get the camp from it. Because you have to remember, you're committing 5 people for this. If you're doing that, you got to get a kill. Because right now they're going to start pulling ahead to catch back up to level 10. And it looks like they're going to grab this.
With that play, is it just because we had Alarak lead with that and then we just didn't have anything to follow? Is that kind of where our misplay was on that?
I mean, there needed to be immediate follow-up of this. Like, you can do it in any order, but if you have the silence going out first, you got the triple silence. That's like the dream scenario. You got to follow that up with a condemn into a punish or a Misha stun into a condemn. Either one. But you just can't let them just walk off. They need to be slowed. Like, this is where the Discord strike happened, and somehow their whole team just walked away without being like slowed. The only thing that got crowd controlled was ETC. He got condemned. That was it. And he's the hardest thing to kill. Like, there's honestly, you guys, if he's full HP, you guys don't kill him unless you like interrupt his power slide to get away. That's the only way I can imagine you guys killing him. Until you have ultimates, I should say. Alright, invade on the bottom. It's really good. And that's just purely based on the numbers. That's fantastic. Raynar's not there, so they can't test it. Okay, here's 10. Grab yours. They're going to have 10 very shortly, so I don't think there's much you guys can do with the 10 advantage right now. Missing a little bit of soak. Okay, catch the rest of it. Grab the camp. Good timing. And afterwards, you just grab this camp. It's going to be useful for the next objective. Yeah, this is all dead time right now. There's no reason to, like, there's nothing to fight over, so you might as well do this camp.
It's fine even if it's like early. We don't have to have it like
You don't
right
have to
before.
finish it. You don't have to, but you don't have to
Oh,
cap it. But you need to do
got it.
it because there's just
Makes sense.
nothing else to do right now. You can have one person soaking bottom, probably Falstad because he's the global, and then one person can sit around mid. It could even be Anduin, and then you can have like the rest. Two people here. Rexar can be up here. Take it at your leisure, basically. But the objective is going to spawn relatively soon, actually. By the time that if you would cap this immediately upon finishing, I'm guessing that the objective would spawn, like, it would say that it was going to spawn within 30 seconds, like, as soon as you capped it. Let's see how my timing is. It's not coming up just yet. I think you guys would be pretty much done with it by now, so it would be spawning right now. And not just yet. Yep, here we go. Okay, so I was a little bit late on it, but if you guys had held it for sure, it would have been ideal. Okay, now you guys go for it. This is a little bit late to be doing it with only 2 people. I don't think you guys are going to be able to do this and get to this as soon as it spawns. If you're going to do it once the timer is started, you have to be here with like 4 people and rip it fast. Okay, you have vision of Rainer bottom. Good, that gives you superiority here. Wait for this with Johanna first. Good. Grab this as soon as possible. Oh, hello. There's Azul. This could be a potential time to try and go for the pick. I would actually say it's more important to try and get the pick on this guy than the camp. Because if you do get this pick, you win this objective. It's not a guaranteed pick, though, just because your team is kind of split. Yeah, okay. Alright, so you guys go for the objective, or for the camp. Spawns. Okay. So you guys have a minor XP advantage, but not enough to go for 13 just yet. So, let's see. Ultimates are available. Let's take a look and see what they have. They haven't picked their Jaina ultimate yet. They have Poison Nova, Mosh Pit, yeah. Okay, so if they have, Poison Nova and Mosh Pit are both ultimates that Gust can be used very, very defensively to deal with. So if they use either one or both, like, just feel free to Gust purely defensively and, re-engage once you guys have healed up a little bit, once those are down, because those can be really scary if they get maximum value in a team fight. I think most Gusts this game should be defensive, but unless you can get isolation Gusts. Okay, so here's the Poison Nova. Alright, yeah. I think this is a point where you just guys back up, tap your wells, come back, and then really hard force the fight. They're down 2 of their team fight ultimates. All that they have left are the Mosh Pit and the Ring of Frost, really, as the, scary ultimates. You still do have your Gust, and you have Light Bomb as well. You did use these 2 ultimates and Counter-Strike, but that's fine. I think this is still, very winnable. Essentially, you guys pre-tap before the fight, and then come back. No reason to fight into the Hyperion here. Yeah, this is all kind of dead time right now. Okay. 2-man stun, good pull, good silence. It does not connect on the Stukov, so it doesn't look like he's going to die. Okay, Light Bomb goes out onto the bear. And Falstad gets hit by the Ring of Frost. He's the only one who does. Do we have the pull? I'm not sure if you had pull available, but that would have been a very good time for a pull. Mosh Pit. Yeah, so you're down your Gust here. Can't interrupt that. Ooh, this is a big mistake, not interrupting the Mosh Pit. Instead going for the aggressive here. I think you could have used either one of your 2 abilities to interrupt Mosh Pit. You could have pulled ETC this way and then use Discord Strike, so then you can get for the aggressive damage as well as to interrupt the mosh pit. That's probably the best case scenario. But really, this team fight would have been infinitely better if all of you had just pre-tapped before the fight. That's for sure. All right, so 2 people down. Definitely no way to win this. You want to make sure you can deal with this top push, otherwise that will get the entirety of the wall, probably some fort damage. This is a pretty scary push for them. They have 13 advantage for a little bit, and there's no gate here anymore. So this fort is 100% gone. That's fine. I think Falstad, this is a point where you could definitely go for a gank on this guy. There's nothing else for you guys to be doing. You don't even want to be chilling here. You want to be waiting behind your gate. So at this point, I would absolutely fly to this bush or this bush and try and kill this guy, 100%. Are you looking for the fly? I think you're just running. That's a bit of a misplay, yeah. This guy definitely dies if you fly.
Oh, wait for it.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
We did something.
It's good, but it's 10 seconds too late. The problem is that if you do that 10 seconds earlier, you could have backed by now, and then you could be here you're the primary DPS that's going to kill this. So timing is very important. Because you make this play now at this point, they're going to get this entire wall guaranteed, and then probably some keep damage, maybe go for a kill. Let's take a look at how it goes.
And actually, to actually add to your point, like actually Kingle did ask for the fly when you said to ask for it.
Right.
So I was misplay on my part.
I did. I saw the positioning of, it looked like you were going aggressive on him, and absolutely that was a good call. And you guys did execute it. It's just timing is very important. So they end up getting so no kills, but they're going to get some keep damage in the entirety of the wall, and they're going to be able to grab this because they have rotation superiority. I don't think there's any way you guys can contest this, and definitely don't want to be the first one to face check it. Okay, he probably could have punished a little harder there. Choke point. Very nice for Stukov. He gets... Oh, okay, this is actually not that bad. Stukov gets left behind here. You guys do have all 5 here. Like, this is... He gets the root off. Okay,
yeah,
so...
I remember this fight. I think it was a massive ring.
Yeah, big ring here. The problem is partially the choke points, but also I do want to see you guys chaining your crowd control better. There was the root on Stukov, and then immediately there was the Misha stun to overlap it. So it's important to make sure that you're giving full time for the crowd control to stay, because Stukov, you want to make sure that he stays there for as long as possible. And I'm assuming you still have your barrel roll. I would have barrel rolled like from here. As soon as you saw Stukov was out of position there, I would have barrel rolled over this wall and dumped your damage on Stukov.
Okay.
Okay, the counter strike is good defensively, but it doesn't hit anything. And yeah, so you're going to get blown up because you got hit by the ring. The barrel over the wall definitely would have put you in a better position for that, but it's a risky barrel roll just because they have ETC still here, but I think Stukov would have died if the crowd control situation was better, because he gets caught in this bush, and you guys have three separate CCs you can keep him here. You can do the root, which landed. You can do the blessed shield, which this is the blessed shield right now, which this is like out of position. He's not out of position anymore. He's like pretty safe here. If he was still here, then he's probably dead. And then the Misha stun. So those are the 3 CCs that you guys are trying to chain together. Okay, so yeah.
With the chaining stuff, I'm going to ask a silly question, which I think I know the answer to, but just to make sure.
Which comes first?
No, it's not. Oh, that's actually a better question. But
yep, go ahead.
But basically, just with the chains and the back-to-back follow-ups, things like that, that's just done with communication, right? Like, hey, I'm gonna. I mean, that's how I envision it happens, but I don't know. Maybe that's not how it happens.
I think that communication-wise, you don't need to physically say, like, I guess if you have enough people where you don't know who's next, then yeah, somebody can call out, like, I have next or something. But you also don't want to crowd communications too much and be like, I'll stun after the next stun or something,
Okay, makes sense.
to a certain extent, it's just a matter of make sure you're not crowd controlling overlap. That's just the main key thing. And that's just timing. You don't need to call out anything. You just need to wait on your cooldown until you see that the crowd control is running out. As far as the order, I would say generally the correct order should be condemn first, if possible. Following the condemn, because that guarantees the hit. You can use either the Blessed Shield. I would lead with Blessed Shield or Misha Charge, either one, whichever one is available or easier to land. And then you can follow with either the Anduin route or the other. I'd say the hardest crowd control to land here is going to be the Anduin route. So that's probably the one that should be the second CC essentially, and then the third one can be ideally it's the Blessed Shield, just because Blessed Shield is the relatively easiest to land and the most disruptive for the rest of the group. So the ideal order is Condemn followed by Misha Charge followed by Root followed by Blessed Shield. That's the perfect order, but it can be any combination if possible. In this case, the Root landed first, which is like a dream because it makes the stuns very easy to land. The one thing that you have to be careful of is Alarak repositioning that kill target and then missing a stun. That's important.
Okay. Now with initiation, like does the tank need to communicate any of that, or we just have to kind of keep an eye on him, or?
So because the first thing should be the condemn, like the tank absolutely here is the one who's calling the target.
Calling out. He's just like, hey, I'm trying to engage or condemn or whatever his verbiage is.
It should be, if you as a Johanna, you know whether or not you're going to land your condemn on a hero. You know it because there are certain heroes that just don't have a way to get away. In this case, Jaina, Stukov, Zul, and Raynor have no way to get away from a condemn. If you are within their range, it's gonna land. So if that's going to happen and you know it, you have that 1 second before condemn goes off to call out the target and make sure that there's follow-up crowd control. If nobody else is able to follow up, that means you have to use your own Blessed Shield. But there should be a follow-up if you're not too far away from your team.
Okay.
So yeah, their composition is a bit scary in the choke points. So in general, better to avoid those choke point fights.
Or just ban out Jaina.
Yeah, I mean Jaina's a strong pick, but you can't always ban. There's a lot of strong picks. Alright, so they only get 1 kill for that, which is not terrible. They're not too far ahead in experience just yet. This looks like it's going to be a free fort. Can you guys get anything here? So basically you're just clearing. This is kind of unfortunate. You do have Falstad, so you guys could potentially look for an aggressive situation down here. Because this is going to take at least 15 to 20 seconds to clear, to kill. So that gives you time to rotate. And you guys can take a fight pre-16. You don't want to do nothing. They still have Mosh Pit and Poison Nova. But you do still have Gust and Boars. But Boars is up here, so that's not viable. But the problem is that if you guys don't fight here, the next shrine is going to be 16 to 15. The thing you have to also recognize, though, is that if you're trying to go for an aggressive gust, if there's minions, there's no point, because the minions will just tank the fort, and then there's no reason to aggressive gust them at all. So, in this situation, you couldn't have gone for an aggressive gust, I think. But even still, I think looking to fight them underneath the fort wouldn't have been too bad. Okay, so they grab their camp. You guys are just clearing. You do the fly top. Great. Fantastic. Grab that kill. That's a pretty nice kill. The question is, what can you get with it? You can definitely, clear out the mid, catch up a little bit on experience. Yeah, I think that you're not going to get much in the way of structure damage off of that, but you'll catch up in experience, which is very important. It means you guys will both have 16, hopefully. If you guys soak, yeah, good. Good awareness top. Really nice. The bait. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty close to equalizing experience. You guys will definitely have your 16s. Grab your camp. Uh-oh, no camp. This is the time. The time is now. You guys are being very passive about this. Okay. Okay, so this is a situation where you need to have your Johanna be in this bush so that you guys know you're safe to do this. Yeah. Definitely prefer to have Johanna in this bush right now. All right, so they know that. Yeah. Okay. 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 This is very doable. You guys can rotate on this. Just stay in this as long as you possibly can. I would consider even using ultimates here. Try and get a pick. This is exactly the scenario you want. You don't want to fight on the shrine because you don't have the wave clear. You want to get picks and then get the shrine. So this is fantastic. Power slide is down. I would rip the blessed shield. Foul slide fly behind both of them. Gust them both back in. This is 2 kills right here, guaranteed. They way overcommitted. They used mosh pit and the feign death was perfect. Ulti? No? Okay. I definitely think this is a fight worth forcing immediately. This was a mistake on their end to overextend to here, drop ultimates, and not get a kill. Definitely.
I think my flight was down, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember.
Okay.
I think it is down because
I used it.
Zul gank.
Currently,
right.
it's available. Hold on.
Oh, it is? How do you tell from the screen?
I'll pull it up in a second. So yeah, it is available. You have both available right now.
Well,
Okay.
Okay, I just suck then.
That's okay. That's all right. I mean, you guys have to like know that that's the play that you're making at this point right now. Like Kingle needs to be saying, we can kill these guys. Like, come, we'll turn this. So right now you can be flying into this bush or this bush. Probably this one is safer, and getting a gust on both of these targets. I would have immediately blessed shielded as well here. Interrupt this blessed shield. Turn around. He's got no power slide for 4 seconds. Yeah, definitely want to see this fight forced. I think you just need to be a little bit more aggressive with your flights. I think you've gotten 2 kills every time you have used your flight. You did get a kill, but it was always like kind of just a little bit later than I would have probably liked to see it. And definitely want to see more use of the gust in conjunction with the fly. So even at this point, so they've used. I still think you guys can continue to chase this. Like, it looks like the rest of your team is not quite caught up, but I don't know. I mean, power slide, he just used it. They're still not under their fort. I think using blessed shield to get even potentially, you could get all 3 of these targets potentially with a blessed shield, and you're gonna have condemn up in a moment. So the fact that you unstoppable the power slide is like the key that says, oh, let's go. We still have barrel roll, lightning rod. You could even do a gust into this wall. So if you're paying attention right now, you can do a barrel roll this way and then do a gust into this corner right here. And that gives your team time to catch up and potentially get a kill. But
yeah, I wanted that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so since you guys do not get that kill, I mean, you didn't use any ultimates, or except for Boars, but they used Mosh, so that's very worthwhile trade for you still. But you guys could have gotten more, obviously, but it's fine. All right, so okay. Once again, you guys don't win the shrine clear. There are already 10 minions up, so you guys need to get in position. I'm not sure why you're so far back. I need Misha to be coming either from this angle or from below, either one. You guys got to have tanks essentially able to collapse on whichever angle. Yeah, so this is the worst case scenario because you're too far away from your team for anybody to really follow up on you, and there's somebody actually in this bush right now, so it's unlikely that Alarak can get close enough to follow up. Yeah, so there's nothing going to happen off of that. Ooh, light bomb does not get value. Unfortunate. The light bomb should be used on Johanna at the same time as condemn is thrown out, because essentially the Johanna is always going to try to hit somebody with the condemn, and if anything that gets hit by condemn will also get hit by light bomb, so you just got to time those two together. Ooh, that is a rough silence right there. Okay. Big silence also comes out from Alarak. This is probably a situation where I'd say just Gust for defensive purposes and recover. Because it doesn't look very friendly to me. Okay. It's
I would have,
fantastic. Fantastic Counter-Strike.
yeah, I think I would have tried to gust sooner, but I saw that I was silenced. I think I was thinking the same thing, but
Sure.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. The Gust does go off, and it's decent. I think, yeah, okay. That definitely turns out fine. Getting the Jaina kill. Everybody needs to be focusing Raynor next. I think you guys can kill him. Yeah, you had the Misha stun available. You can also get the Zool. Misha stun. Uh-oh. Double power slide. Okay. That's going to be a kill trade. Okay. It's worth... Oh, that's also potentially killable since the root wins. But, okay. So you guys, at this point, you still have a kill advantage. You don't have to get more kills. You can if they stay here. But you definitely need to just have one person be in this bush. Not okay to not have anybody. Got to have a Misha or Johanna in this bush. The rest can be doing the shrine. And if they step in from this angle, then you can collapse on them. If they try to approach from the side, then you just fight them. Yeah. Yeah, this is the worst case scenario. If you had imagine right now if you had Johanna here. How different this looks.
Oh, you cut out a little bit there. You said if you had a Joe in that bottom one.
Yeah,
then...
if you had a Joe in this bush right when they did this big silence here, imagine how different that looks, because they're wanting to step up and chase you guys because of the silence being really positioned well, and then Johanna can literally come up and condemn like 3 of them, and you can turn the fight right there.
Okay.
And that just comes down to making sure that you're covering these bushes. Again, if you had either Misha or Johanna in this bush, this guy should die every time.
Okay.
Oh, massive stun, but you guys have to follow this up. Like they shouldn't be here. This is a 3 versus 4. You in that scenario, you need to punish them for staying, especially when you can land like a 3-man stun like that. If you get the 3-man stun there, you follow it up with a condemn, the punish. Falstad should be able to barrel roll over this wall, land a big hammering. I feel like there's no reason you guys don't get at least 1 kill more right now. Still nobody in this bush, and that's Anduin's using his root here because he doesn't know if anything's in this bush, and he doesn't need to. In fact, it's better that he has his root available in case he can follow up on a Misha stun. So definitely put your Misha up in that spot there. Okay, so you guys grab the objective, and once again it's because you get the picks. In this case it was the Jaina pick, and then later on you had to trade. Unfortunately, this is definitely a misplay. I think grabbing this camp at this time is very unfortunate. You guys need to be either soaking, pushing with, or catching this back XP. So Falstad should be the one to catch this XP back here. Rexer should be the one to catch this, and the rest can be with the objective and not allow it to be free cleared. Ideally, this objective gets this fort down because it's late enough in the game that it can get both the wall and the fort. This is already pushing on its own, so they have to respond to this. Zool is dead. Doing this camp is losing your team time because even obviously you'll get the camp, but what it gives up is free damage on the objective. I strongly suspect that you will not get this fort unless they devote like poor resources. Essentially, if they send like somebody to deal with this right now, and they don't have 3 people here right now, then maybe you guys still get the fort. So far, 2 people. Okay, it looks like you'll still get it. They had 2 people here for sure. They had Stukov, but he was much further back. I still think it would have been much better to have the 3 people here earlier. It looks like Alarak backs. You guys didn't catch the soak down here as well, so I think you guys could have pulled ahead by a full level if you guys play this perfectly here, as well as.
That wasn't a back on Alarak. That was
Oh, you died. I forgot. That's right. My bad. Okay, you do have Blessed Shield available. Okay, I think it's pretty much over at this point. You guys can immediately go for this camp and this camp. I would say this one priority, do this one first, and maybe have one person starting this one. No reason to stick around at this point. Highly unlikely you get the kill. Wow, okay, really nice kill. Did not expect that. It's once again, it's a very risky position, so it looks like you guys will get punished a little bit. So a trade kill here. It's not the worst. If that's all that happens, that's kind of net neutral. But it was an unnecessary risk because there was low chance of getting the ETC kill. You guys successfully got it, which was impressive. But even if you get the kill, there's a chance that, like, you guys got lucky by having only one person die. That could have been a lot scarier. If Ring of Frost connects on anybody else, you guys were all able to stay within the center of it and get away. That could have been a team wipe, honestly. So it was a little bit scary. I definitely would have preferred you guys just go ahead and grab both of these camps.
I think I was a little scared at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so you guys go for the bottom camp. I mean, it's still 4 versus 4, so I think you guys still could have gone for this. Yeah, I would have preferred you guys go for this instead, because you have first rotation priority, which means that you can sit in that whichever bush and just catch whoever's rotating. They don't have ETC, so it's going to be a squishy. You get a Misha stun on anything squishy, and it should die, because you have Alarak and Falstad to follow up. Okay, bot lane is pushing out already on its own. You guys can now start to siege into middle, I think. I think it's pretty safe to do that since they don't have stage dive. Yeah, I would push this mid. Like, they have one person pushing top here. You could go for a fly on top as well. Yeah, since they're showing 2 bottom, I think fly top. I would even use Gust for this. I would fly here.
Okay.
Because he's overextended on the map. There's no fort, and you have vision of most of their team down bottom. So if you can fly behind him and find him, then he's dead. You're playing Falstad this game very much so like a Vala, sort of. So.
I'll say that again. Like
like a Vala, like where you, as if you didn't have the global. Oh man, that's unfortunate. He gets away. Okay. Because yeah, I think if you fly while he was on the screen here, there's no way that he lives.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, camp is available. You guys want to get your 20s, but you need to have people in the bush. Good, perfect. Can I zoom out? There we go. All right, so 20 level fights. Do you go for the upgraded Gust here?
I think I do.
Okay,
I
cool.
think. I can't remember, though.
Sure.
Yeah, I did.
Cool. That's a big game changer in team fights, that ultimate. All right, so they have a little bit of advantage here in terms of being first to clear, so they'll get some damage on this fort. Ideally, you don't want to lose this well right before this objective spawns, but it looks like they're going to prioritize and get that down. This is not a terrible fight for you guys. Like, this is another moment where I'd say just fly Gust. This is the wall right here. So they're going to, as soon as you guys rotate, they're going to start walking back up through here. You fly to here, or anywhere in here, anywhere here, and you fly and you Gust against this wall this whole time. Yeah. All these targets are viable kill targets, essentially. Okay, the boars, yeah. I think you can ignore this. It's going to kill the fort, but it's more important that you guys win the fight. It's the level 20 fight. Whoever wins this fight likely wins the game. Likely. For them, less so, just because they still have to go through the finish the fort and then the whole keep and the wall. You guys have just the wall and the keep. But if you guys win a team fight, I think it's likely that you guys straight up can win. Okay. Yeah, this is another opportunity for a fly Gust. I see it again against this wall again.
It's a Gust, yeah. I
like,
see that now that you say it.
You can't let them get away with being this far out on the map and just not use the Gust. It looks like you're just trying to clear right now, but the time is now for fighting. I would fly behind them and gust them into your team, but that's you'd be wasting the upgraded version, the wind tunnel. So
okay, so the value with that level 20 is like against the wall essentially.
Yeah, it's a stun against a wall basically. They can't do anything. They can't use things unless it's like an instant cast ability. They can't do anything. Okay. Trade kills. All right, so you use it very defensively. You do get the pick. It's fine to do this. It's not ideal because I think you guys could have gotten more, but this is enough that you guys can get the objective, I think, for free. Now that this is over, Falstad goes back to clear this because he's the global. 4 people stay up here, heal up to start the objective. Wait. Oh, poison damage. That's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Okay. I guess Indestructible wore off, and then the Poison Nova damage, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think I was trying to guess to save him too.
Right,
it didn't work out.
for sure. It's still 4 versus 4, so I'm not sure how I feel about giving this objective for free. Like, you've lost your tank, and they still have theirs, so I would say they probably have a bit of an advantage when it comes to composition makeup, and you've used all of your ultimates. So yeah, I guess you can't really contest it. That's unfortunate. But okay, so you guys go and grab this fort for free. Take their camp. You guys stay and take it. Okay, it's gone anyway. Both camps. Yeah, that's not bad. Grab this fast back immediately. Good. Good. They kind of can't ignore this. So yeah, they have Zool to deal with that. So this is now 4 people. This is another opportunity where you guys can't let them get away. Okay, so you can start by clearing this, but if by the time that this gets down to like 20-30%, if they're even remotely out on the map still, I would go for a very aggressive fly gust, even just to throw them back into the team, because you have Vision of Zool here and it's post level 20. You could force the fight right now. In HGC, that's what they would do, is that they would jump the objective or the boss with Johanna Unstoppable and immediately fly up here, gust into this corner, anywhere into here.
Oh, so the timing of where to force it in the situation is like right after the first jump, and then just let him beat on the whatever.
Yes, because after the jump, he'll probably punch Johanna a little bit, but that's fine. You've just used your Unstoppable, so you have a big shield. And what's more important is that you guys are getting a 4 versus 5. After punching Johanna a few times, he'll start hitting buildings, and you can just ignore him. That's kind of the idea. You have to be a little bit careful because of the lasers, but I still think you guys have an advantage by this being 5v4, and especially if you get a gust into the wall. If you get a gust into this wall, all 4 of these targets die. Okay, but you guys play it relatively defensively here. You're just kind of trying to clear. It is possible to save this keep right now, so you don't have to fight, but I do think it's better to get a fight here than to just save the keep. Good push there from Stukov. Alright, so you guys are going to save your keep here for sure. It's a defensive, safe play, but I think this could have been like game winning if you could have punished the Zool clearing here. Honestly, if I'm on their team, they don't show up to push this at all. That was a mistake on their part. They could have potentially gone to like a different lane to push, but I honestly wouldn't have. I think that getting the wall is all that they should be hopeful for with the objective, and if they want to, they could have like all gone to fast clear mid, push it out, try and get a little bit of damage on the mid while you guys are still clearing here, but. Very slow passive play. A little bit too spread out here. Yeah, this is a problem. At this point in the game, like to have this much of a spread of your composition when you have no vision of them on the map is very bad. The good news is that you have wind tunnel still, and this is a phenomenal position for it. Essentially a barrel roll downwards and then a wind tunnel against this wall would be so good. It would be like your damage is not necessarily close enough to follow up to get kills, but it would guarantee saving Johanna 100% and maybe turning it around. Okay. You don't even need to go for it because of the fact that Johanna got the Iron Skin, but I still think this is not a bad fight for you guys to take now that they're down Mosh Pit. So I think this is a point where you guys are like, let's actually take it. All right. Ring of Frost only connects on to Joe. That's fine. Misha goes in. Poison Nova gets some value. Yeah, not a good gust. So you're using gust.
Okay.
This one and the previous one have been used
Defensive.
as if you didn't have the upgrade. All right, these are both normal gusts that if you had the level 10 version, that's fine, but no value from having taken Wind Tunnel so far.
Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely a situation where I think you guys wanted to continue to fight and not disengage because they have no ultimates. They've used everything. It's post level 20. You guys win one fight and you can just straight up win the game. Still, yeah, I still think you guys should be looking more aggressively for the fight. I think Blessed Shield could have been used here potentially to try and force immediately. Still nobody sitting in these bushes. Gotta have Misha or Johanna. Not okay.
Thanks, Sticks.
Okay. Faustad also can be starting to split off and do global soak away from the team because you still have your fly. You do want to be careful if there's no vision of anybody on the map, but it shouldn't be anybody else at this point. You guys need to be rotating as 4 and then just have your global be the separate one. But
Yeah, this late in the
Yeah.
game, is it even advised to really do global? I mean,
yes, it's still worth it. You just need to play very carefully. Like you need to be looking at the minimap constantly and know where. Like you have to think, what's the worst case scenario? Where could they be? That would be the worst case scenario for me, and that's just how you play it. Otherwise, there's no point in even having a global.
okay.
You could be in this bottom lane for sure, and like pushing this out, making sure that it's not an issue for getting onto the keep eventually. And you're far enough away from any bush here that there's no risk of you dying. You can immediately dismount an ATC that's on his way to you or barrel roll away. So yeah, definitely positioning that you can have that's very safe. Okay, so yeah, this is a situation where you guys just aren't having either Misha or Johanna face check first. That's going to be an immediate blow up. Yeah, so it's just definitely needs to be better group rotation and checking of the bushes. You guys have plenty of abilities that you can use. The first of which is the blind. The second of which is just sending Misha in. And then you can also use hammering to check a bush if you absolutely need to. But especially because they just did it here. They just did this exact same thing. So you know that that's something that this team wants to be able to do. And if you guys check and see that they're in this bush, this is where you win the game, essentially. Because they're so far out, they still have no ultimates, and then you guys can actually take a good fight. Johanna can run in, land a huge Blessed Shield. Wind Tunnel that's coming up in 6 seconds would be able to push them against any wall of your choosing. And I think this game just gets closed out.
Yeah, I think the call, we were actually going to try to invade on their camp because we thought they were doing that.
Got it. Yeah.
I think that's where we're all trying to beeline it over there, and then obviously we got split up when we were doing that.
For sure. All right, so you guys are still forcing this fight, even though they got the kill on Faustad. And like so far, the start of the fight is decent, but you don't have enough damage. There's no world where this goes well because
We figured that out later.
Right. It starts great because you got that nice condemn into the light bomb, but best case scenario, you're able to get all of your damage on like one squishy low health target like Jaina or something, and maybe you get that one kill and then you try and run away, but I really think that's unlikely. And
yeah, super unlikely.
Yep. Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's the end of the
definitely.
game.
Sorry, what was that?
I believe that's the end of the game.
Yeah, it should be. They should be able to.
Like a minute, yeah.
They're gonna close out, or at the very least, they'll get a keep. If they get another kill right now, it's a guaranteed end. Let's take a look. they just push with this. Yeah, that's plenty of minions and stuff. And you guys aren't clearing it. You can't sit by this during this time. You have to try and get whatever damage you can on the minions and whatnot. Positioning wise, right now, instead of being here, you guys need to be here, next to this keep. Make sure that there's no minions on this side, of course, but you want to be able to like Alarak pull people into this keep. You need to use this keep as a defensive tool and be able to clear all this crap without it being able to tank the core for a while. So the best case scenario positioning wise, like the safest positioning is like right here, because it's within range of both the keep and the core. That's like the safest possible area to take a fight, with only 3 people into 5. Bear down. And just nobody's able to clear this whole time. Yeah. Yeah. No value from having a keep here. Good reset. Not quite enough to kill. Good attempt. If you had pulled this Rainer into the keep range, then he dies. Just something to note. Like that's what I wanted to see, and I think that's probably the best case scenario for you guys not losing the game right now. Because this is very much so able to be turned around. If you guys can get a pick here, suddenly they can't necessarily end, and they might panic. But you guys need to be stepping up. Wow. Okay, Light Bomb is definitely not ideal to be on Falstad, but it is what it is. You still have Mighty Gust here. I think, like, just Mighty Gust them away from the core. That's the real, like, concern right now. So just gust them away. Make sure you get all this crap away from your core as well. Focus on killing the one target. So this is an isolation on the Zool. Very unfortunate. So you tried to barrel roll in because the Light Bomb.
Yeah, he told me to jump in, so I did.
Right. So that's a mistake of who to put Light Bomb on first and foremost. But also, I mean, you still have your Mighty Gust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So
if you're watching at home, guys, this is not how to play Falstad, obviously.
Yeah, don't barrel roll into the middle of a mosh pit. That's advisable not to do that. I think that this game, it went as well as I think it could have in the early mid game, and I think that you guys had multiple opportunities to close out the late game with your advantages, and just kind of didn't take those opportunities. Right, there was multiple fights that you guys either could have gotten the 4 versus 5 or a fight against no ultimates. Those are both. I think there were 3 different opportunities for that to happen, and that's post level 20, and any one of them could have ended the game. There was also the opportunity up here before the shrine was taken, where you guys could have gotten a fight either here or here. Okay. Both of those were also opportunities where you could have won, because a shrine or getting this objective and pushing top with level 20 is very likely to end the game if you can get 1 kill, 1 pick. So definitely a matter of knowing your late game win condition and how to close out the game. Otherwise, I think the early and mid game were pretty good. I think that you guys were able to successfully get your picks, and that allowed you to win every objective that you did win. So that was pretty solid. I think that from the tanking perspective, just being more aware of being in those bushes to allow your team to be more safe and know where the enemy team is. Like they only did the bush ganks later in the game, both here and here, but their composition was very much so geared towards that style of play, where if they can catch a squishy on rotation, they can blow it up really fast. And they even tried to blow up Johanna with the mosh pit. Fantastic job to unstoppable that mosh pit there, by the way. That was really pretty awesome. But yeah, I think that I'm not a huge fan of this draft in general for this map, but I think that you guys, because they were comfort picks, you guys could have definitely made it work. It was a pretty close game. Like I don't feel like this was super one-sided either side. Kills is 8 to 10, and map wise it's very similar. You guys just lost this keep, so it was 3 keeps to 3 keeps in the late game. Yeah, I think that It just purely comes down to the late game team fights and knowing where and how and why to take them, essentially. Let's take a quick look at builds before we get into anything else. So let's start with Rexar. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely nice to have the reduced cooldown on the charge, I think, here. The Feign Death got a lot of value. Like, holy crap. That could have been straight up game winning, I feel like. Just that off that one play up here. Having Feign Death, the mosh pit was amazing. Kill Command. I don't think you guys got as much value from Kill Command as I think you would like to. There were several kill commands that did, land on a lot of people, but you guys didn't like force the fight with the kill command, if that makes sense. There was a little bit of indecision with that. So that's something that I think could have been improved on. And that could just be communication or shot calling or whatever it is. Laws of Hope. I think this is probably not the correct level 1. I think having the shorter cooldown and higher shield would be much more valuable against this composition. I don't think that you should be too worried about the passive healing. Definitely a matter of staying alive through the burst and whatnot. Eternal Retaliation. This is actually a phenomenal choice based on the composition because you don't have that much wave clear. So Shrine Clear and Wave Clear, this is fantastic. Blessed Lamentum's fine. Good. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Indestructible. I think you could have gotten away with not going indestructible against this composition because I don't know. Let's take a look stats-wise. You did die 4 times this game, so it's okay. It's not terrible. I think that I would have preferred to have the shield, the AoE shield talent, because there were multiple times where they got these big Ring of Frosts, and that could have been a great way to counter that pressure. If you can get an AoE shield, not just for your own survivability, but for the whole team, would have been really nice.
It's like a mitigation. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Go back to Joe's level 1. So you and this is just for me, I guess, for just personal knowledge. So if I was tanking as Joe as an example, why would I grab the heart versus the D?
So it comes down to a decision between the type of healing that you have and the type of damage that they have. So the type of damage that they have is very burst and crowd control oriented. They don't have a ton of prolonged damage. So like Rainer's the only DPS on their team that's I would consider a sustained damage dealer, and the rest is very burst oriented and crowd control oriented. You have the root, you have spell blow up, and you have power slide. So those, based on their composition alone, I would every game take the trait talent because it gives you more shield, so you're guaranteed to survive when you press your trait, and it's on a lower cooldown, so you're able to make plays more frequently, make sure it's not down.
Okay.
And just in general, like Laws of Hope is, when it comes to your healer, let's say you had an Uther instead of an Anduin, then I could say, okay, maybe Laws of Hope is okay, because even if they do go for crowd control on you and you don't have your trait up, then Laws of Hope or Uther can still keep you alive because he's got the armor or the cleanse or divine shield, etc., etc., etc. So that's sort of the decision for level 1. For Falstad, so you went for Gathering Storm build with Updraft.
Yeah, my spec is really weird.
Okay, this is a very strange build. Yeah. All right. So let's break it down real quick. So level 1 talents, your options here. All 3 options are viable. I think going for straight auto attack would have been a mistake just because it's so risky against this team to be close enough to auto attack a lot of times.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think a lot of it is because we were doing a transition. I'm not a confident, obviously. I don't even really know all of Falstad's abilities, apparently. But I think the W was pitched out, and I just, like against Raynor, I just felt like a wimp, kind of like I was going to get out range. But I think that's my own play style. I just haven't figured them out as well yet.
You could have gone for a W build here. It's not ideal because W, like the only things that you'd get value from your W talent are going to be Zool and maybe ETC. Like Zool is the definite target that you'd get value on.
Okay.
But more importantly, like having the level 1 bribe talent could have been nice just for timing camps with objectives or potentially invading if you have an opportunity to do so. I would have been okay with that as well. Gathering Storm is okay. It's a safe-ish choice, but once again, you weren't team fighting that much this game, and the way that you guys win is not through team fighting typically here against this composition. So 43 stacks is pretty low for this point in the game. Like at this point in the game, I'd like to see you be at least like 80. That's where I'd like to see you based on taking this talent and then at this 23 minutes into the game.
Okay.
Updraft here. It's not terrible. I think that's fine. The main reason for that being that if you ever get Zool rooted, you can basically save yourself guaranteed with Updraft. And it's a burst protection with the shield as well. Yeah.
What would you have picked out of curiosity for level 4 there?
My general go-to is for the auto attack heals, but that's playstyle oriented, and against this team in a competitive scenario, that's not necessarily better. I think that in this particular game, I think Updraft was perfectly fine. I would have considered it myself.
Okay.
Secret Weapon is a straight up mistake. It should almost never be picked as a talent. Boomerang is 99% of the time going to be better, and especially in this composition because of the fact that you don't have, and you were lacking some wave clear, and Boomerang would have given that as well as Shrine clear. Not to mention single target burst damage. And once again, you weren't going for an auto attack build, so this is an auto attack talent. So like if you're going up against a composition where you need to be able to burn a frontliner, then maybe you could consider Secret Weapon with the rest of the build. But this is not a great target to be trying to burn with auto attacks. He actually went for Imposing Presence, so it's really difficult to kill an Imposing Presence tank with an auto attacker. And Secret Weapon just provides very little value, I think, against this composition.
Okay, so you would have went with the W1 on that one?
I think no. I think every time this is a Boomerang because your composition doesn't have the wave clear. This is every game Boomerang. Mighty Gust is definitely the right choice, and you had some decent gusts, but I think that there were plenty of opportunities, especially in the late game with Wind Tunnel, to get more value. Giant Killer I think is probably not necessary. They don't have a very tanky team, and ETC, like, he's not usually the first one to die in team fights. I think most of the time in team fights, you should be trying to kill one of the squishier backliners with the Alarak pull and then follow up. So I don't think that the Giant Killer is a good choice, especially because you didn't go for an auto attack build. Secret Weapon is an auto attack talent, so I guess it's some synergy, but it's not really the kind of synergy you'd like to see. The level 1 and the level 13 are the ones that should be paired more. So in this situation, I would say the trait upgrade at 13, which will give you more abilities, would have been the most beneficial. It gives you more potential Boomerang and Hammerangs, which would have been better for Gathering Storm, as well as if you went for a W build, because you get more Ws by keeping that up. Airy Gust is a good choice to follow with that, so that's correct. And Wind Tunnel was fantastic as well as a choice. You guys, you probably could have also gone for the flight upgrade. I think that based on your playstyle and based on the fact that it doesn't seem like you're super familiar with how to use Wind Tunnel right now, then
I am now after this.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. But I just mean in general, in this game, I think you could have also gotten good value from having that fast fly, because a lot of the gusts that you used were very normal gust type in the late game, and so you could have gotten away with using that with the fast fly.
Okay, makes sense.
Anduin, Bold Strategy, Moral Compass, basically W build, and Light Bomb. So I want to talk briefly about the Light Bomb usage this game. I do agree that it was the right choice, but I think it needed to be... there were a couple that were decent, but there were none that were like perfect. I think Light Bomb usage, definitely always you want it to be on ideally Johanna, sometimes on Misha based on situation, almost never on anything else in this composition, because even though Alarak's a melee and ideally you want to get shielding on him, that's great, he doesn't want to be in the center of a team fight. All of his skill shots and whatnot are benefited by things being directly in front of him and in one direction, so it's just never ideal to put it on him. If you had like a Zeratul or a Maiev or an Illidan or a Genji, then you can throw it on the DPS there instead, and that's better. But in this case, I think almost every time on the Johanna would have been fantastic. Time it with the Condemn. Condemn goes out, the Light Bomb comes out. And you guys did that one time, and you did it right here when they were here, but Falstad had already died, and that was the fight that you just didn't have enough damage to win. so that's important. Speed of the Pious, Inner Focus, and Glyph of the Faith. Yeah, totally fine. Really good. And then this build, I didn't keep track of how well you handled Show of Force stacking, but this is the correct build. This is definitely good choices. Counter-Strike was good, was impactful. Rite of Rock Shear, I wasn't paying attention specifically to how you managed your sadism control, so I'm not sure about how that went. But purely talent-wise, all correct, I would say, because there wasn't enough kills on. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone either of the other two talents at 13 because your team wasn't dying that much. 10 kills is a very relatively low count for a competitive game like this. I shouldn't say that. Competitive games generally do have lower kill counts, but because of that, you don't want to be taking pure malice or whatever. And Storm League, different story. Teammates oftentimes just suicide, so good to have pure malice. And then the other talent here would have not been very beneficial because auto-attacking against this team is very rare to happen as an Alarak because it's just so threatening their composition to be close in melee range. Lethal Onslaught is fine, and I think Hasty Bargain was fine as well. Yeah, I think this was all fine. Okay, that pretty much covers the talent builds. Now I want to open it up for some questions if you guys have any. I don't know how you want to throw it out.
Can I ask a question?
By all means.
How would you have improved on the comp for Shrine Clear?
Okay, so for the Shrine Clear, I think you just needed one hero that was a very solid Shrine Clear hero. It could have been in any role. You could have replaced instead of Rexar, you could have had either Sonya, Urel, even Blaze, just something that that still covers the solo lane role well, but also can be left to finish the shrine. I think you could have also replaced the Falstad this game. Instead of Falstad, you could have had either Gul'dan or what else? Even like Vala would have been better. You need something with high damage output. I think the Gul'dan is probably my favorite choice because you still have the Horrify, which would have covered a lot of the same necessary things that you had with the Gust. And it still puts out a crap ton of damage, and it has solid Shrine Clear, Wave Clear, etc. And I don't think that you got full value from the global. You got value on the 2 kills on Zool this game, and that was it. Those were 2 flies, I think, in the entire game. I'm pretty sure that there were no other flies. So that's not...
Agreed. Yeah, not very valuable.
Yeah,
no, yeah.
You can do a lot more than that. It's about a minute cooldown, I believe. Okay. 75. They did nerf it. 75-second cooldown, so... in a game this long, I would expect you to at least get like 8 to 10 flights in. I would say that that's a pretty normal amount for a 23-minute game. You don't need to use it on cooldown, but you should be using it more often than like 2 cooldowns, essentially.
Okay.
And then healer-wise, I think instead of Anduin, you guys could have gone for an Alexstrasza this game, just for the Dragon on Shrine, but I don't think that against this team, I don't know if that's necessarily a better situation because Mosh Pit could have been really scary. And then instead of Alarak, I think if you wanted to do a different hero than Alarak in this game, I think maybe Zeratul could have been a nice option. Zeratul would have offered decent Shrine Clear, Wave Clear, as well as very strong late game and more isolation. It would have been really strong for team fighting between the Falstad and the Zeratul. You have both Gust and Void Prison to isolate their team. You can go for a VP on like 2 or 3 and then Gust 1 or 2, and then you're left with a 5 versus 1. And that's how you can win every team fight. But once again, it's definitely comes down to comfort, and the only thing that's really important is that you have one person that is fulfilling that role for Infernal Shrine specifically. You can't have no heroes that do it. Yeah, I think that covers that question. Anything else?
Cool. I'm good with questions. How about any of the other guys? Silver Panda.
I'm good.
Sticks.
He pointed out a lot of what I already thought myself about the game, so...
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think Overall, a little bit. I think the biggest tip that I can give you guys for competitive play is to have better map control via the bushes with the tank being making sure to cover the angles, so to speak, where their team can come from. Just give your team a better sense of where they can stand safely. As the tank, especially in competitive games, you are what allows your team to do what they do. If you don't do your role in that sense, it forces your team to make poor decisions. So that's very important for the competitive scene. And I think that draft, I do think you guys somewhat lost this draft. Not by a lot. It was pretty close, but I do think you guys lost the draft and came back from that loss purely off of comfort, like in playing well on your classes. So I think that you guys can improve on draft like out drafting a little bit. It's good to be on comfort picks, but I would try and have at least 1 or 2 picks in every draft that are sort of more flexible, that are tailored to either the map or to counter the draft on the other team. And just as an example, what that means, because their composition is so focused on picking, a single target, in this composition, having something like either Medivh or Zarya or Tassadar would have been really nice just to counter their kill threat. The only problem with those heroes is that not all of them are super helpful for winning the shrine. So, but yeah, just as a pure, to negate their kill threat, if you could get a Medivh shield or a Zarya shield or a Tassadar shield on whichever target they tried to go for, high likelihood the target's not gonna die, especially if with Tassadar you go for spell armor, or Medivh, obviously he's not going to die. You already have the Johanna, which is phenomenal. Johanna's the perfect tank for this scenario, for this composition, just with the other level 1 talent. And I think this similar note for the Rexar as the tank, Misha needs to be positioned in those bushes to cover the angles. Very, very, very important. And also, there were a lot of opportunities where the stun from the Misha was perfect, and then there was no follow-up. So that, I think a lot of that comes down to communication. You need to be able to be more vocal about saying oh, I can stun this target. Let's go on him. Just call out the target. Just Jaina, Zul, whatever it is. Just call it out, and hopefully your teammates will be able to respond. Yeah, I think that just about covers it. So thank you for sending this replay in. I appreciate it. It was definitely a good and close game, and I wish you guys luck in your future games.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Man.
Absolutely. All right, man.
All right, cool.